Say something.
Om Namah Shivaya, dear brothers and sisters. We're here united to celebrate grapes, black grapes in Tiruvannamalai.
So I'm here with Erika.
Hi.
Huh? Okay. That's green, no?
Yeah.
Green. Okay. So hi. So today we have a guest. She is all the way from Italy, and she speaks Italiano, and she is not so good with English.
It's not true.
No, it's okay. Maybe we're on way. Um, so here we are sitting in Tiruvannamalai, um, and it's super hot outside
It
today,
is.
and we are all
Outside and inside.
inside, so we are all sweating. It's outside, and it's a place for dhyana, which means that where people can. I mean, Devana Maharshi, he got the death experience at the age of 14, and he came here and started seeking, who am I? So, Erika came here with a mission, actually. She want to do the Women Awakening Project, and that is the message, or that is the vision, and that is the mission Erika carries, and it's all the way from Italy to India, China, and where else and all you went, and what is the, can you talk more about the mission?
Yes. It actually started in India last year. I was in Rishikesh. That is also another of those places where there is a very powerful energy, the Ganga River. And I started feeling the need of contacting female masters, because in my own spiritual journey, I was often surrounded by monks, Buddhist monks, and I had as a point of reference men, wise men, which I'm super grateful, of course. I learned a lot. But last year something happened. It changed, because before that I never really questioned. For me, it was not a problem to be a woman in a spiritual journey. Also living in a monastery, I never had any problem. But last year something happened, and it was about. I felt the need of contacting these female masters. I really, really feel a need. So from Rishikesh, I went to close to Dharamsala in Kangra Valley, where there is Jitsuma Tenzin Palmo. She's a Buddhist nun, very famous. She spent 12 years in a Himalayan cave. And she actually made a vow, which is very peculiar. She made the vow of taking birth and reaching enlightenment in a female body, which is very strong. So there is actually a theme. There is a thing coming up of these, women are rising in all fields. We can see it everywhere. And reclaiming their space and reclaiming their power. And also in the spiritual world, there is a need to open a little bit more the way for women. And of course, spirituality is beyond gender. There is no need to say this, and God is beyond gender. But as long as we are, in the relative.
Can you pass there? Like, from your discussion, I can get to know that you spent time with male masters as well as female masters. So, as a female, and these spiritual masters are from different religious setup. For example, somebody from Buddhism, somebody from Hinduism. um, did you spend time with the Jain masters?
No.
No, okay. So when you are spending time with the female masters and the male masters, what is the difference you felt, and what was that like?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say because it's something quite subtle, because also some masters, men, can have that feminine, let's say, wisdom, very strong. So they can feel like a mother, for instance. So it's hard to talk in this sense about men or women because this is more about the quality of the consciousness. But let's say that through these women, I had more a felt sense of how is it to follow your intuition in the spiritual journey. Like,
Okay, let's don't talk. So, for example, how the male masters behaved with you, how the female masters behaved with you. Like, let's don't jump into directly into the realm of consciousness so much. Like,
Okay.
the way you interact with the people. So,
Yeah.
how does it goes? And also, you are in India as a Westerner. How does it work out? Like, how do you see that?
Well, with the male masters, of course, there is more. It's different for a woman, to approach a male master or a female master. It can felt differently. So it's easier to approach a female master. I would say so. There are also less. Less it's like I feel like the daughter of a female master, there are no other ways, it's very clean in a way. It's very clean and it's very direct, the
Teaching.
while sometimes monks or masters, they also of course keep a certain distance from women, in a way, to as the traditional, it's good, it's the traditional precepts, for example, the Theravada Buddhist monks, they cannot be in the same room with a woman, and if they want to talk with a woman, there must be another monk or another person there. So all of these, they make you really aware that you are talking to a man and you are a woman. You know what I mean? Well, like maybe I would not think about it, but since it's coming so, of course, I realize that. And with women, all of this is not there because it's like we are like sisters, we are like mother and daughter, it's easier. It's easier.
Like with women.
Yeah, sure. Also, all of the emotional world that we carry, and it comes, of course, in the practice. Sometimes men don't really know what we are talking about. There are a lot of emotions coming in the practice. There is also, right now, you have heard all of these movements about the healing the feminine, and all of this work that sometimes arises during the spiritual practice. So when that type of content arises, it's easier for a woman to speak to a woman.
See, if a male master is thinking you are a woman, and there is some certain distance which they are keeping in order to talk with you, and do you feel this is something necessary, and this is something very important in a way,
Yeah, I
because
mean, yeah,
generally women feel threatened by the men.
yeah.
Yes or no? I'm asking you. Do you feel threatened by a man?
Threatened by monk? No, really, by monks I don't feel threatened. They are so peaceful.
Okay. Okay.
They feel threatened. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
maybe.
So do you feel threatened by men?
In general,
Yeah.
it can happen. It
Hmm.
can happen.
Do you scared?
If I get scared,
Are you scared
uh,
of men?
no, I'm not scared of men.
Do you feel threatened by the men?
Uh, Potentially,
Mm-hmm. How about the masters?
no. Of course, I don't feel threatened by the masters.
So when these all this conditioning they are putting forth, and when the disciples around them is putting forth, how do you feel about all this conditioning?
I find it limiting on my side, but I know it's conducive for their practice. Well, not all the monks anyway, it depends on the tradition. But I know it has a reason why, and it's for sure a good reason. But as a woman, I just become more aware, that I am a woman, I'm more aware of this conditioning, of this identity.
So when we are actually looking into the spiritual understanding, there is no men and no women, like it's omnipotent and things like that. So when somebody who preaches, there is it's about omnipotent, and there is a conditioning for a woman to approach the one who is speaking about the omnipotency of absolute existence. How do you feel about that? Like
Yeah,
doesn't it
exactly.
sounds like a kind of you know um, hypocrisy?
I think it's just really how the mind works, in the sense that we are, let's say, stretching towards this absolute, towards this beyond polarities, right? We are stretching beyond to reach what's beyond polarities, but we have been so conditioned for since millennia, to think in polarities. So the difference between men and women is still so much, it conditions so much the structures, not only social, cultural, but of course also religious and spiritual even. So it's like we are aspiring to go beyond this, but the habit that we have been creating for so long is actually of a certain type, and it gets in the way. It gets in the way as an obstacle, you could say, but it is exactly what we need to see, accept it is there, to go beyond. That's why I think it's important to talk about it, not pretend that it's not there, and not pretend that in the spiritual traditions the gender discrimination is not there, because it is there.
It is there, but spiritual tradition is something which is actually designed to go beyond the
Exactly.
identities
Yeah.
of the gender or
Yeah.
something, whatever it is, like
Sure.
all kind of identities
Yeah.
to go into the self, and where this kind of conditioning is applying. So how do you react as women, I mean, most of the she's from somewhere, not from the India, somewhere outside. And how do you react on that? Like, you've been to universities or something like.
I did an academy of writing actually.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you feel about this in the? Mm, how do you
This,
react to this? Like,
the conditioning, you mean?
yeah.
Well, I mean, it is
Would you appreciate the conditioning or would you say no to the conditioning?
appreciate.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't appreciate this conditioning. I say it's limiting, you know, because of course there is a difference between men and women, of course. The thing is when we are not given equal possibilities or we are not considered equally, of course we are different,
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
but
Mhm.
we are equal,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. So the conditioning is actually that we are different and we are not equal. This is the millennia conditioning, that comes in the way. But now we are working to get this equality done, and that's why women are rising. Not to transform the patriarchal society in a matriarchy, but it's just to bring again into balance this. And then we won't need anymore, to talk about it. If we need to talk about it, it's because it's not there.
Um, so I'm glad that you brought about the discussion about the matriarchal society and the patriarchal system of the understanding or patriarchal society. So if we look into the society, like there is multiple kind of societies is been built based on there is mostly this is patriarchal society, and there are societies which is being existed in the southern India, which is actually matriarchal system. And if we go to the some parts of India like Lakshadweep and stuffs like that, it is again matriarchal system. Um, so this matriarchal system is still existing. Okay, so how do you feel like um, what do you feel like it's a patriarchal system is good or matriarchal system is good? Like your project is very important because you are coming into a spiritual tradition where you're looking for the feminine masters, and which is a kind of matriarchal spirituality is what you're looking into. It's a system of developing a new system of matriarchal spirituality. So the possibilities possibilities of creating a matriarchal spiritual society is what you are looking into. So how do you feel about this? Like
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's what I am pointing to, but because I really don't believe that one should stand up on the other. Like it's not about patriarch is good or matriarch is good. No, also matriarch could be wrong. If it's it depends how it is led, of course. But no, I believe more on the balance. I believe more on the balance that we come back to the power of our primordial force as men, as women. And so we work together. We work together towards this, because of course now something is breaking in the society. Something is changing. You see, men are like women want the men to be more feminine. I don't know if you have noticed this, especially in the spiritual world. Like, oh, please connect to your heart. Like, please connect to your feminine side, right? And women are becoming more. They also can connect to the masculine side more. So, like, be more powerful, be more like assertive, be in control. Well. We have always been in control anyway, but of the family. And so this shift is happening, which is confusing. I hear many people are confused. You know, men are like, okay, but shall we behave like men or what? And women don't know so well how to get into their feminine power, energy, and allowing things to be also, you know, and so in this sense, it's really a work we do together. It's not one on the other, because these are forces, complementary forces, that to lead beyond, they have to be together and work together, not one on the other, because we have different powers, you know, we have different powers.
So there is, like, for example, in Indian spirituality there is two concepts. One is Shiva and another one is Shakti. So Shiva is the masculine power,
Yeah.
and when we are in Tiruvannamalai, this is masculine power.
Yeah.
Like, it's a tapas, like, so hot, and it is intellect. And feminine power, it is like so cold, and it is creativity. So in a certain way, there is techniques in India which helps us to connect a man to connect to feminine side of him. That makes this particular person more creative, whereas the women is more creative. There are techniques that helps her to connect with the masculine side of her.
Yeah.
So it will make her more creative as well as intellectual also. So because women doesn't do much of the intellectual jobs. That's why, see, there is things are there, like, if a woman is ruling a country, that country doesn't go for war. But whereas if a man is ruling a country, it always want to go to war. For example, the George Bush, whenever he was there in US, they want
Yeah.
to they want to destroy everything because he is highly intellectual being.
Yeah.
And now the in years that Biden is coming, he is like, is not that much intellectual actually. So US is coming out from all the countries, no war, like that. It's
Yeah.
going like that. So in a way, connecting to the masculine side and connecting to the feminine side from the both end, it is good. This is what I feel. How do you see about this? Like,
Yeah, I mean, because of course it doesn't mean that men do one thing and women do the other. Like, we can be flexible, you know, women can be in power, but keeping connected to their heart, you know, keeping connected to their heart, and you know, managing situations with the feminine approach, which is in fact inclusive, which is in fact, you know, compassion based and empathetic, you know, and in this sense, the world has too much male energy, in the sense too much, you know, energy of control and, you know, things going in one way, and hierarchies. All of this is like too rigid. It's too rigid. So the feminine energy is more like the water, which allows the
yeah, the moon
structure
magic.
to fall.
The moon.
Exactly. Allows sometimes the structures to melt, because actually most of the time are not needed, or are not needed as rigid as they are. So we can be kind. We can be kind at work. You know, a boss can be a kind person. You know, and the best boss is a very kind person, actually. So, and all of this, you know, you see that it requires to change patterns of mind and how we perceive reality in so many different aspects, because this is a crucial topic right now.
Like what?
This that the world needs more feminine energy. And of course it comes also through men. It doesn't mean that just women are rising and men sit in the house. Well, whatever, you know. Um, we need more this empathy and capacity to think not rigidly, but like open, open, and being open and receptive, and a bit like a mother towards life, towards a life that is unfolding under
So,
our
like,
eyes.
you are into a project of women awakening project. Like, you want to evoke all the women with the feminine power or whatever. Like, what? How do you visualize a woman she is awoken?
It is when women are basically aligned.
Hmm.
When we are aligned by nature, we know what we are here for. So women are the way between the invisible and the visible, right?
Why?
Because they give birth.
Okay.
So that life, before being there, it's invisible. And then through the woman, it becomes matter. We could say, that through the woman, the divine takes, come out in the world in the form of life. Thanks to the man. Of course, without men, this also cannot be. So, but it's through the woman. The woman is like a channel. Yes, for this to happen, for the divine life to come on earth. And even if the woman doesn't give birth, this is somehow in us. So it's not necessary to give birth, but we have this role of bridging the divine and the material life. So that's why I think we can bring the divine down in a way, down on earth where it is needed. So
This is how you visualize the women she is awoken.
yeah, I visualize, women that are very grounded, very connected. Not only they are super aware of the needs around them and within them, but they are guided. I mean, they are guided by the harmony of life. Yeah, they know how to follow that.
So, at what point of life you realize this?
Realize what? That this is needed?
Yeah,
Last year.
last year.
Last
And
year,
how?
I realized that this is needed.
Why? How?
Well, I think on one side was something that was happening within me. So I actually went through a big crisis last year, and from that point, I was broken. I was like, I had a displaced vertebra. I couldn't move. I was in a bed, stuck in a bed. I left my apartment in Italy. I left my partner. I lost my job because of the ChatGPT. So I was like really, and my Buddhist practice also, like I couldn't focus. I think something was coming up, It was very hard to be quiet and still, almost impossible. And in that, disease, in that disease, I for the first time, I conceived the Great Mother. I conceived, of course, she's there, but for the first time, I was like, okay, God. It's like God became the Great Mother, the Divine Mother, and I was like, oh wow, why? Why? I mean, isn't one God enough?
Mm.
Why splitting God also into the male God and the female God? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
But actually,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that, of course, the divine is one, truth is one, the absolute is one. But look here in India, how many divinities are there? It's infinite forms
Mm-hmm.
because it takes the form that is needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's divine.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down exactly crafted for you, tailored for your needs. And evidently, in that moment, I needed a divine mother, you know, because I was broken and I was emotionally upset, you know, and I needed that, the tenderness of a divine mother, the wisdom of a divine mother to help me cross this and grow through this. Grow. Yeah. So I started from there and I was in Rishikesh. So the Ganga is considered to be the divine mother, this female energy. So I was taking every day a bath in the Ganga. Talking like within myself, I was praying. I was praying to the divine mother to help me, to heal, to collect, you know, to collect me.
So you were saying what you've been doing before coming into. I mean, you said ChatGPT has taken away your job. What was that?
Yeah, I was working as a copywriter, freelance. Yeah.
Of course, it can be taken away by ChatGPT.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was quite boring, to be honest, as a job. And for joking, I said that, like, to my friends in the beginning, I was like, it's so easy and so boring that a robot could do it. And like 6 months later or 1 year later, ChatGPT took it. So actually, it happened.
So this is when you realized, okay. So you been interviewing people. What was the good experience you came across? What was the
All
good
of
interview?
them are good.
But something which you would love to say, this one was very good and it gave me some good insight. This
Yeah.
particular interview, it's went into this particular way, and that particular woman is into this thing, and that opened and that shifted my
Yeah.
vision or the way I'm
Sure.
looking into something.
Yeah.
Is there something has happened? Is there some
Yeah.
interviews like that which you would love to?
Each interview has been like that. Each interview has been so transforming. I can tell you, like the first one, for example. When I went to interview Jitsuma Tenzin Palmo, she's a Tibetan Buddhist nun
Okay.
of Kagyu lineage. When I went to interview her, she was the first interview, and I actually was still, you know, a little bit in pieces, as I told you. I was not like very well, also physically.
One second. Yeah, we've been talking about the um, interview you did with the Buddhist nun.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah, what was happened over there?
Yeah, what happened? So she was really inspiring. First of all, it was like talking to my auntie.
Okay.
You know, like she was very easy, like very familiar. You know, I went in her where she stays in this nunnery, this beautiful nunnery she created for the Himalayan nuns. So outside there were like hundreds of Tibetan Buddhist nuns, like teenagers, so young, in these like burgundy robes. Yeah.
What is that Burgundy robes?
Burgundy is like the color, it's like the red, dark
Okay,
red, the
okay.
Tibetan dark red. In that color, and you know, they play the damaru, the Tibetan drums, they chant, they do these beautiful pujas, they study all day, these nuns, they have a very tight program. beautiful. And Jitsuma stresses a lot the importance, for example, of sisterhood, of supporting each other as women. And these nuns, they have learned a lot from the monks. They have a neighbor. There is a monastery of monks, and they come to the nunnery and they teach. So there is a very good relationship between them. But then she's also like, these girls, their limits is the sky. There is no limits. This is how they are educated. And I think this is beautiful to educate a girl that her limit is the sky.
Okay. Okay.
It's very beautiful. Yeah. So then I also felt I was in the presence of someone who knows emptiness. You know emptiness?
Empty. Yeah. Shunya.
Emptiness, sunyata. So I really felt she knows emptiness. She was so light, so transparent, right? And bright. It was very, very inspiring for me to meet her. Yeah, for this sisterhood, and also how she speaks about the importance of female role models in the spiritual realm. Because also she, when she became a nun in her 20s in the north of India, she was the only one woman amongst like 500 monks or something like that. So she really knows what she's talking about when she says that there is need of female role models also in the spiritual world, but also outside, business women, and how to lead as women. This is what we talk about. It was amazing.
So, people can listen to that particular talk in your website or something. It.
It is in the book, but there are pieces of it. Pieces of it. It can be listened to.
Okay, so that is one of the best talk which you had, and any other talk?
Really, they are all really. They are
No,
all
but there you felt very good,
I
and
felt very good, but
no,
each
no, for example, in my entire podcast, which is something like 60 plus total, which has been done on the span of 2 years. So in all these things, which something which I feel really good, which I transcribed to the my book is like enlightenment in the world religion, where Dr. Thomas has been talking about the history of, for example, the patriarchal system and matriarchal system. How the churches in the, for example, the Jesus was with the Mary Magdalene. Actually, in France, there is Magdalene Study Association is existing. So Jesus was with Mary Magdalene, and the church don't want people to know that Jesus was with Mary Magdalene, because if it is patriarchal system, it is easy to control all the wealth. Vatican will never go to the kids, because when the men and the women comes in picture, like if they are together, there is somebody else also will come, because another new life will come. The kids will come, and the money will be go to the kids and things like that. So they deliberately said nobody to get married. But if you look into the Jesus Christ ideology, I mean, in his history, there is historical evidence saying that Mary Magdalene was the tantric consort of the Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because in India we don't believe in the celibacy. The celibacy is something which is came out of from the the Semitic religions, which is so called Christianity, Islam, and things like that. They put forth the celibacy is the one of the best thing to do, because all of their nuns and monks are all celibates.
But also yogis, no?
Yogis
were-
never. I mean,
were
Shiv-
celibate.
Adi Yogi Shiva. He was with all his family.
Ah,
Shiva has a wife. Shiva has 2, 3 kids. He's happy with that.
Mm.
He is the founder of yoga, and he is with family.
Mm.
And nobody in India, nobody in celibate. This idea of celibacy came from the idea of Christianity because they don't want to um, go the money to the kids.
Okay.
All the Semitic religion preaches that. Like in India, it's all Sanatana dharmas. Like like Buddhism is like it's comes out from searching. It's actually searching. Those
Yeah.
religions are searching, but the Semitic religions are based on commandments. So this is one of
Mm.
the best podcast which I have done in my 50 to 60 podcast, which I have done. Which I have transcribed it into the book also.
Mm.
So in that way, like something very good, a podcast which you would love to
Yeah.
recommend people to, like
Sure.
which is like basically if you look into more into the Jesus also, he was in India, he was with yogis and he learned a lot of yogi stuff
Yeah.
and things like that. So what was the best podcast, like like
Mm.
the podcast with the lady which you
Beautiful.
were talking about, it is
Yeah.
also it sounds good, like she's training the women to look into
Uh,
the sky and keep the sky as the limit
mm.
to all the kids in that particular monastery where she's
Yeah.
talking about. So
Yeah.
something like that, like
Uh,
apart from that, or is this the best podcast which you have done now, or is this the best interview you
interview.
have?
I want to say something about Jesus actually, because one of the women I interviewed is Antonella Lumini. She's basically she followed the Christian Russian Orthodox tradition and the path of silence. So it has something to do with also Ramana, I would say, attitude towards inner silence. And she was talking to me about Jesus. What did she tell me? She know actually Hebrew, so she has been reading a lot of things also in Hebrew about Jesus and all the story and all. And she was like, of course Jesus had women and had a partner before. That's normal.
No, Mary Magdalene is the evidence
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. But still, somebody pretend it's not true, but of course it is. But she was like, but he came actually at a certain point. He stand alone, and he was talking about love alone, and that's very strong. He didn't pass through history for being in a couple, which it's all right. But he didn't. He was alone and he was talking about divine love, love for everyone. So, and that is the message of Jesus. The message of Jesus is not you can get enlightened in the family life. No, which you can. But the message of Jesus was there is another love. There is a love which has nothing to do with the people who are around you. It comes from somewhere else. It's the love of the Father. And it's the moment also when the eros type of love becomes agape, the love, the sacred love, the sacred love. So that's what she told me, and I really liked this point of view. Yeah. Another beautiful interview was with Karine Martin. She is a Tao priestess, Tao, China tradition. She's French. And for example, she's a priestess. She performs rituals. She can teach to a whole monastery full of men. It's perfectly normal because in Taoism, there is equality between women and men. Because all Taoism is based on the yin and yang symbol. The yin and yang? Yes. So everything in life is based on that. That is the archetypical symbol
Mm-hmm.
are beyond everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing can work
Mm-hmm.
properly
Mm-hmm.
if that is not understood, you know, because it means we are resisting the flow of life, which is perfect harmony, perfect harmony between the opposites, perfect harmony.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
See, that is the exact same symbols like Shiva and Shakti in
yeah,
India. Ardhanarishwara, we have a concept like in India. And
exactly.
I had an interview with Tavo of Tantric Yoga, which is in my podcast list. So in that, I'm talking with the women. Satyama Lesbi or something that I'm thinking that's what her name. So in which we were talking about the Taoistic understanding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is exactly what we visualize in Shiva and Shakti in
Ah,
India, the yin and yang symbol.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant, you know, because one has the other inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it is exactly that creates a movement, creates the movement of life. The fact that one is inside the other, but also the other is the other, you know? So there is also an importance to be given to this line, apparent line that separates the two, which is, you know, respecting each other's difference, because otherwise, you know,
Yeah,
we don't
it's
move forward.
yeah, mistake.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, we get stuck.
So these are the important podcasts which you have done. See, and you had an experience with the women. They are thinking about the higher order of existence with the particular Buddhist monk in her monastery, where people can go and meet her.
Where people can,
Go and meet her.
they can go and meet her in her nunnery,
Mm-hmm.
Dogyu Gyatsaling, DGL,
Mm-hmm.
Dogyu Gyatsaling, it's a Tibetan name.
Mm-hmm.
So she's there.
Mm-hmm.
She's there in Kangra Valley.
Mhm.
It's close to Dharamsala.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible to go there and visit
Mhm.
and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? Like, um, I think we have covered almost everything. And if people want to talk to you about the liberation and stuff like that, how, like for example, women they are interested into awaken into themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
And they want to listen to your podcast or your
Interviews.
interviews, or
Yeah, they can
they want
find
to buy your
inspiration.
books, or
Yeah.
if they want to send some donations to you,
Sure.
or how they can, where they can
Or
come.
questions
Yeah.
also, you know.
Mhm.
I would love, you know, to listen really like to reflections or having questions, and they can go on the website www.womenawakeningproject.com. And there, you know, there are my contacts, and yeah, you can just drop a message. There is a donation box. You can make a donation if you want. You can follow the YouTube channel, and you can follow on Instagram.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Also, if there are, if you met like a realized master,
Those are women.
women, yeah, yeah.
No, I mean,
What do you say?
those are women because you are in search of women.
Exactly, exactly. So if you meet an enlightened woman,
Like you.
no, Not like
Okay.
real one. If you meet an enlightened woman, maybe she's hiding, maybe nobody knows of her. Okay, just call me.
You want an interview? Okay.
And I want to say something else. Can I?
Yeah.
So that I am in Tiruvannamalai. We are in Tiruvannamalai, and here there is all of this beautiful silence way, the way of the silence, which of
If
course,
somebody want to be silent.
if somebody wants to be to know what is silence,
Yeah.
which is not the absence of external noises, is something else, should come here. And I want to say that I am meeting some female masters here that it's like they are arising from this silence, and it's wonderful.
How long you been in Tiruvannamalai now? This is your first time?
It's the third time in 2 months. So I've been coming, going.
In 2 months you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ti-ti-ti-ti-ti-ti.
Okay. So how you been feeling? This is the first year.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible to witness this. The power that a place can have. It's incredible. Yeah, it really gets into the heart. When I was away, I had to leave. I was away and I was dreaming about walking in Tiruvannamalai. And I was feeling like I was walking in my heart. You know, I was like, I'm at home.
You feel heart here.
Yeah. The heart and all of these resistances, the resistances that are still present in the heart, are felt also.
So when you will come back to Tiruvannamalai again and again?
Yes, again and again.
Okay.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah. Told it's almost an hour.